just realized this. I mean, you could be clean as shit, and all of a sudden somebody somewhere in the right situation just approaches you with something, and now you're not. And that
Right.
happened a lot, you know.
Oh man.
People finding multi-million dollars worth of cash somewhere in a wall, you know,
Hmm.
and telling the army to set up a perimeter because they found a laboratory, and then not answering the radios for a few hours.
Yeah.
And then you open up then the army opens up the door, and the radios are in the room turned off, and all these fuckers are gone. You know, these people that you work with for years, and you went to a birthday party of one of them, and
Yeah.
now them and their families are gone into an afterlife that I don't know. Maybe they made it, maybe they didn't. I don't know. You know, but this is reality of stuff down in Mexico. You know, there's
Yeah.
it's insane that we were used as a tool to try and combat this, but we were treated like subhuman pieces of shit, realistically,
Yeah.
and the pay that we were paid not that well. The medical was pretty horrible, and there was absolutely no concept of retiring for anybody like me.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that people also need to understand about that field, uh, I remember reading this quote from True Detective, where I think Russ Cole says,
Yeah.
"Be careful what you get good at," you know,
I remember
in
that
life.
line. It's a great line.
Beautiful line. Well, if you're a cop in Mexico and you professionalize yourself to the degree that I did, when I got out, I was a policía segundo, a second class police officer through the organization map that they had back then, which is pretty high up. It's a pretty high rank. If you leave a police unit like that in the by quitting or resigning, or if you're fired, you're not eligible to join another police organization anywhere in the country.
Hmm.
So again,
Interesting.
what does somebody like me
Right.
do after a job like that?
Yeah.
So the policies have been creating some of the monsters that you are now fighting,
Yeah.
and some of the monsters you will be fighting in the next foreseeable decade were created very much by some of these policies on both sides of the border. People like me who, like, if I have a conscience, gladly, but some of the people that I work with might not, you know.
Yeah. Man.
Um,
That the poly I did the lifestyle poly years and years ago, and I worked it into my fourth novel, The Devil's Hand, in the beginning as a kind of a tool to catch readers up on what's been going on, and I like to try to do that creatively in the books. But that seeing that happen, and then seeing people either turned or already have been turned, already essentially working against you, but next to you in the stack as you're going to go into a house or something like that. What does that do to your psyche as far as trust goes, not just with your element, but for people in general?
I mean, I didn't have any words for it till I came to the
Mm,
U.S. and I went through. I've actually just finished with about 2 years worth of therapy to try and figure some of these things out. I mean,
yeah,
to people being stuck on survival mode, and I think you know what this is. I mean, basically, you know, there's condition red, condition yellow, and
there
whatever.
we go.
But imagine the experiences that you had out there, and imagine those experiences happening where you grew up, and you can't escape them because you have to come back to them every now and then. So I have family that lives down there. Uh, these are people that I had to fight who were speaking the same language that I was. And sometimes when they would kill some of ours and we would kill some of them, we would have the same funerary service space. So uh, I th it's a overwhelming space of paranoia, I
Yeah.
think, in a big way. It traumatized a lot of people that I work with, and myself including, and a lot of them probably don't know that it happened to them
Mm,
when it comes to trusting people and relationships and trying to figure out if somebody was on your side or if somebody wanted to shoot you in the back of the head. Um, there was a lot of that. For me, I trusted the people that I suffered with.
mm,
Is the way I would quantify who I would trust and who I wouldn't. When I went through when I was a regional sub commander was the highest rank that I achieved. and I wasn't a commander because I was too young. So I was running through the ranks either by competition or by my competition getting arrested and or killed. So I rose through the ranks pretty quickly. But when I got into a command position, one of the lessons that my uh, again, one of the most influential people in that field, Lieutenant Colonel Izaola, kind of said is that you have to be able to do what everybody else does in your group, and they have to do what you do. And ego doesn't belong in a command position. Um, and I took that to heart. And a lot of people that I worked with had the same kind of concept and knowledge base. People that would invest in their own training. I mean, I went
Mm.
around the country when I was still active, training with a bunch of people in the U.S. Some of them are still scratching their heads when I tell them like, I was in a class with you. Like when? You know? Um, I think amongst my group and the people that I was working with, there were a few true believers, and I think the time when those were few and far between is the time when I thought it was a time to leave.
Man.